The movie takes place in 1981 and starts off with this lady named Dulce. She woke up after passing out and saw that her cheek was cut and there were broken mirror pieces all around. She was all freaked out and started looking for her son, Leopoldo, or Leo for short, and her husband Jose while holding a big piece of mirror like a weapon. But she couldn't find them anywhere in the house, so she went into the basement. In the basement, Dulce found her husband Jose lying there with a knife in his shoulder. He briefly woke up and grabbed her before he passed away. Then, she saw her son Leo at the end of the hall. She asked him who had attacked their house and told him to come to her, but he just stood there. Suddenly, he was pulled into a dark room by an invisible figure, and the door locked behind him. Luckily, Dulce had the key to the door and was able to open it. When she did, she discovered that the door led to an even bigger basement. She kept searching for Leo while asking God to keep her safe from any danger. Oddly enough, there was nobody down there. Based on the evidence and fingerprints on the knife found in Jose's body, Dulce was suspected of killing her husband and her missing son Leo. She was convicted and sent to jail, even though she insisted she was innocent and didn't know where Leo was. The judge's decision stood, and she had to accept serving time behind bars. To cut a long story short, 30 years later, in November 2011, Dulce, who was already pretty old, finally got released and put on house arrest. She was brought back to her old abandoned house, and her lawyer helped clean it up, made some food for her, and took care of getting the electricity and water running again. When Dulce got home, all the memories of living with her family came flooding back. It was revealed that she once had 2 kids, Leo, who's older, and Rodrigo, who's younger. Not long after, a priest from the neighborhood dropped by for a visit. He made it a point to come see Dulce and reassured her that he was certain she wasn't responsible for the incident that happened 30 years ago. After a quick chat, Dulce led the priest down to the basement where she had last seen Leo getting dragged into the dark by some mysterious figure. The priest wanted to know what really went down and who was responsible for all the messed up stuff 30 years ago. Dulce told him that ever since her family moved into the house, they'd been dealing with some weird happenings. So she was convinced that the person who offed her husband and snatched her son Leo was some spooky figure that had been living in the house. 30 years ago, Leo and Rodrigo were just regular kids playing with their friends. Rodrigo had a crush on their friend Sarai, which made Leo mad because he thought Rodrigo was too young for that. They ended up having a fight over it. Later that day, they both got home really late and were getting ready for Dulce to dish out some punishment since they hadn't done their homework. Luckily, Dulce was in a good mood. She just told off Leo for not setting a good example for his little brother. Leo just said sorry and told her he loved her. Then he asked for a snack because he was starving, but Dulce couldn't give him anything because they were low on food and money. Instead, she gave him a little pearl from her ring that he could hold whenever he was scared. She also said a prayer for Leo to become a great person in the future, to be blessed by God, and to achieve his dream of becoming a pro baseball player. A little while later, Jose, Dulce's husband, who worked as a laborer, came back from work. Dulce told him she was worried because she couldn't feed their 2 sons. Jose reassured her, saying he had bought groceries for the week and they wouldn't go hungry. He also promised to find a better job. After that, he went to hang out with his friends at the bar nearby, and Dulce locked her room to get some sleep. Right after Jose left, someone suddenly grabbed the doorknob in Dulce's room and Rodrigo's room. Meanwhile, Leo was still doing his homework in another room. At first, Dulce thought it was her husband, but when she peeked out the window, she saw Jose walking on the sidewalk, so it wasn't him at the door. In the other room, Rodrigo was freaked out because the doorknob was moving by itself, and there was a weird, scary noise coming from behind the door. It sounded like someone was banging on it really hard. Dulce took a risk and cracked open the door to see if anyone was there, but she didn't spot anyone in the hallway. Out of nowhere, an arm reached in and grabbed her head. She fought it off and grabbed some scissors, but when she went to strike, the arm vanished. At the same time, in Rodrigo's room, the door opened, and the candle went out all of a sudden. Rodrigo quickly wrapped himself in a thin blanket and saw a kid coming in and coming towards him from inside. Leo, who had just left the study room, heard his brother scream and quickly went to see what was going on. As he was going up the stairs, an old lady was seen entering one of the rooms behind him. When Dulce heard a scream, she freaked out and grabbed a knife, thinking there was a burglar in her house. She ran so fast that she tripped and broke her toenail, but she ignored the pain and hurried to see what was happening. She found Leo in the study and he told her the one screaming was actually Rodrigo. She then went to check on Rodrigo in his room, and luckily, he was okay. The next day, Jose called the police and filled them in on what went down the night before. Sadly, Dulce couldn't give much detail because she only saw an arm reaching for her and couldn't see the intruder. She was pretty sure the kids saw something, but they were still too freaked out to talk about it. Jose explained that he had gone out to a nearby bar to chill and de-stress, so he didn't know what was happening at home. The cops wanted to know who used to own the house, but Dulce and Jose had no clue. What they did know was that the place had been empty for ages, and Jose got it for a real steal from the government 5 years back. Before taking off, the detective handed over his card to Jose in case he needed it. Dulce was still freaking out about what happened last night when Leo came and said something about it. He said that someone told him he would lose Rodrigo soon and gave him a note for Dulce. When she read it, she looked super surprised and quickly hid it when Jose showed up. 30 years later, the priest decided to check out the library. He wanted to learn more about the history of the house where Dulce's family used to live. To his surprise, he found out that 2 other families who lived there also mysteriously vanished in 1921 and 1951. It seemed like weird things kept happening every 30 years, just like when Leo disappeared in 1981. The priest kept searching for old records and came across a book called The Great Architect I. In the book, it said that the creepy house was built by a guy named Ibrahim Eckhart in 1890, and it had a one-eyed decoration on the front. When Dulce was at home, she went to take a shower, but all of a sudden she saw the reflection of an old man holding a knife standing behind her in the mirror. She quickly shut the bathroom door and called the police, who were downstairs. Then she went to her room and found the number 11 written 6 times on the mirror. Out of nowhere, an arm grabbed her from behind and she freaked out and locked her door. The doorknob started turning by itself, and the same scary incident from 30 years ago happened again as someone banged on the door really hard. Turns out, it was actually the police trying to get into the room. Dulce tried to tell them what happened, but they thought she was going crazy when she said she saw a ghost in there. Then, the priest showed up, and Dulce told him about seeing an old man with a knife earlier. The priest then showed her an article about the guy who built the house, some English dude named Ibrahim. Turns out, Ibrahim and his family, along with the people who lived in the house, all vanished, and the vanishing happened every 30 years, like some spooky mystery. Dulce told him another crazy story that happened to their family 30 years ago. After that scary night, Dulce was convinced that there was something really bad in the house. She showed her husband the paper that was given to Leo by that mysterious figure, and it said that Jose would kill their son, Leo. Jose thought it was all nonsense because he would never hurt his own kid. But Dulce was terrified and wanted to leave Jose and take their kids with her. They got into a big fight. Finally, Jose couldn't take it anymore and let Dulce leave, but she had to go without their sons. Dulce was so scared that she went to see a blind medium for help. After getting everything ready, they burned the paper from the spirit and told Dulce to shut her eyes. They made sure she didn't peek because they said the spirit would leave if she did. The ritual finally started. As soon as Dulce shut her eyes, it got super chilly, and then the door creaked open. The old dude came in holding a knife, and the medium looked like she was possessed by Leo, pleading with his father not to kill him. As the old man grabbed Dulce by the shoulder, she opened her eyes while freaking out, and the old man vanished. At the park, Rodrigo gave Soraya a present, a pearl that he nicked from his brother Leo. After getting a kiss from Rodrigo on the cheek, Soraya started thinking of him as her boyfriend. Leo saw them and immediately asked them to play baseball to stop all the lovey-dovey stuff. He was so annoyed that he teased Rodrigo throughout the game, but Rodrigo played well. Then, when it was Rodrigo's turn to throw the ball, Leo hit it really hard and it smacked Rodrigo in the face. He fell and hit his head on a rock. It was a shock to everyone when they found out that Rodrigo didn't make it. Rodrigo's funeral was on November 11th and his sudden death really hit everyone hard, especially Dulce, Jose, Leo, and the rest of their friends. It was like what that mysterious figure said came true, that Leo wouldn't be able to play with Rodrigo again. During the funeral, one of Leo's friends comforted him and promised to always be there for him. Then they did their secret handshake. Back to the present, the priest was trying to figure out what the 11s on the mirror Dulce saw meant. Then it suddenly hit him that the number indicated a time. He then went to Dulce's house and saw that she was trying to end her life by cutting her arm. He quickly stopped her. Dulce said she was going through a lot of pain because her whole family was gone, and she was stuck in prison for 30 years. Everyone thought she was bad, and now she was scared of the creepy figure coming back. But she kept going because she still believed she could find Leo, who she thought was still out there somewhere. Not long after that, the cops told the priest it was time to leave. but before he took off, he gave Dulce his necklace and said something amazing would happen that night. Specifically on the 11th of November 2011, at 11:11:11. That night, right at the exact time the priest said it would happen, the lights went out, and before Dulce knew it, she found herself back in 1981, just a few days before Rodrigo died. Leo's version after Rodrigo's death also ended up time-traveling to the same moment. It was the night when a mysterious figure appeared at their house. The old Dulce, who didn't know what was going on, thought there was an intruder in her house and tried to attack, not realizing that she was actually attacking her younger self. It turned out that the person who had tried to grab Dulce 30 years ago was actually her from the future. At the same time, future Leo got freaked out when he saw an old lady in his house, not knowing she was his mother from the future. Old Leo ended up hiding in Rodrigo's room and was shocked to see that Rodrigo was still alive. He gave Rodrigo a hug and started crying. It was then revealed that the pearl Rodrigo gave to Sarai wasn't stolen, but was actually given by future Leo, who promised to always look out for him. On the other hand, old Dulce eventually realized that she was back in time 30 years. She hid in the study and met young Leo, telling him she was his future mother. Luckily, young Leo believed her because she looked familiar. Old Dulce then hugged him to ease her longing after not seeing her son for 30 years. She then warned him not to play with Rodrigo for the next 3 days, because she knew that Rodrigo would be killed by him while playing baseball. Finally, she gave him a note to give to his mother, the young Dulce, and told him not to read it. All of a sudden, old Dulce traveled in time to the day Rodrigo died. Jose, who was already grieving over Rodrigo's death, stumbled upon an old letter that exposed Dulce's affair and revealed that Leo was actually their love child. This news enraged Jose even more, especially since his own son Rodrigo was dead because of him. He started to look at Leo in a different light. Jose wanted to stab Leo with a knife, but then the young Dulce showed up and tried to stop him. However, Jose was filled with so much anger that he ended up slashing Dulce's cheek and hitting her head against the mirror until she fainted. Meanwhile, poor old Dulce was freaked out because out of nowhere, this creepy old guy with a knife came up to her. He led her down to the basement where Leo had vanished. It was then that he finally dropped the bomb and admitted he was actually Leo from 2071. He spilled the beans about how the house had the ability to transport people through time in a mysterious way, which explained why everyone in the house had inexplicably gone missing. Old Leo told old Dulce that he was still kicking, but he was in a different year now. He came back to warn old Dulce to save little Leo from being killed by Jose. He also shared that he had a rare genetic disease with no cure in 1981. But luckily it was cured in 2011 and he got better. He mentioned that this time loop was supposed to happen and it's fate that the young Dulce had to go through. Meanwhile, Jose kept chasing Leo as he tried to get away. Leo dashed into the basement and locked the door, but Jose quickly broke it down. He finally caught up to Leo. But right before he could harm him, old Dulce appeared and took down Jose by stabbing his shoulder to save Leo. Then, she had to take Leo to the basement to be sent back to 2011 to cure his rare disease. She did it in front of young Dulce, and then the time travel was done. Back at the present, the next morning, Dulce spilled the beans to the priest about what really went down 30 years back, when she offed Jose and brought Leo forward in time to 2011. After that, the priest was brought to meet Leo in the room, and he was totally shocked to see that Leo was still kicking. Then they exchanged greetings and let it slip that the priest was actually Leo's buddy from back when they used to do their secret handshake. Dulce asked the priest to bring Leo to the orphanage because she couldn't take care of him anymore since she was too old. She was really happy to see Leo from the window as he left with the priest. On their way to the orphanage, the priest and Leo ran into a woman who was totally surprised to see Leo. Leo couldn't believe it when he realized the woman was actually Sarai, all grown up, wearing the pearl necklace Rodrigo had given her 30 years ago.